So you're welcome back to the big issue on 97.3 City FM. And also good morning to our viewers on television. If you've just joined us, my guest this morning, Lawyer Yawopong, who's on the floor speaking about floods, Franklin Kujo, who will speak after him, and then we wrap up that conversation and talk about the situation on the Nigeria Benin border that is affecting Ghana heavily and has had a ripple effect with our traders as well. I have Engineer Mahama Abdullahi, road and building consultant, and the Honorable Carlos Ahenkra, Member of Parliament for Tema West and Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. So, Lawyer, upon wrap up for me.
Yes. As for laws, I was even surprised to know that not only do you need a permit to build, but even a permit to remove a structure. You understand? And because I wanted to remove some old structure on where I built my property, and I was told I couldn't remove it. Sure. I actually needed a permit before I can even remove it. Even removing a tree, removing a tree from the land, you even need a permit. We have all the laws, maybe better than almost everywhere in the world.
Well, that's the trees. People are removing it every day.
Well, that's the case.
People are removing it.
You actually need a permit. But then, you see, the point also is that I think we are also missing something. Now, we still talk about waste. That's where it's a resource. But we have made it waste because we don't do even the separations in our own home. We mix the fufu and the abenkwa and the bones and everything with papers, with bottles.
Oranges, banana peels, everything.
Banana peels, everything, and then we go and throw it out. The person also coming to pick it has only one container for all this. He is not even bringing separate containers or facilities so that if I have been able to separate it. We have one for bottles. We have one for maybe food, if I might call food waste, paper, and then and the rest of it. And these are sources of materials for production. And when people then can't find a place to put them, and even where they could, instead of these people then turning it to the factories, they go and dump it at places, and that in itself also then gets in the way of the water. They're talking about water. I think we have also, over time, unduly highlighted the issue of people are building in waterways and so on. I mean, people are building in rivers. Maybe you can explain. Go to the Thames. There's a building right in the middle of the Thames. It is the way you do it. Amsterdam is virtually covered or surrounded by water. In fact, river. But you need, so if people want to build on the banks of rivers, which is where elsewhere, again, the most expensive part and not close to airports. So the Koli area, why have we still left it the way it is? That should have been the most expensive residential place. But what are we doing? The other time, one of the people who are dealing with the human waste, they were still complaining that people are adding bottles and things. And we are still talking about discharging human waste very close to the sea, close to the Kole Lagoon. Why is it that is what we are doing there? When we could have harnessed the place, construct proper, and every year we get loans for desilting.
Well, which reminds me, on Monday, the Information Minister has announced significant financial fusion into
but this is not
$200 million plus.
Yeah, but this is a project that in itself is also perennial. Because almost every time.
Oh, no. I don't think that's fair. I think it's not perennial.
This is the first time we've been giving money for the Kole to be sealed.
This is a $200 million.
I'm not talking about the quantum. I'm not talking about the quantum.
What the money is for. What is it for?
Yes. It's for desilting, it's for re-engineering, it's a huge project.
Exactly. In about 5 months back, I'm told they gave 187 million to Cecilia. Is this?
No, that's sanitation ministry, just for desilting.
But the work was intertwined.
Yes, it's been split between works and housing and sanitation. Sure. But that was in cities. This is a $200 million project.
I'm not talking about the quantum. I'm talking about the announcement that loans have been taken for the purposes of whether desilting, expanding, or engineering of the Kole Lagoon. This is not the first time. This is about the fifth or so time I've heard over time, from especially President Atamio's time to now. I heard this also 3 days ago. And I told myself, next year, we will still come here and still bemoan the situation. It's because we have still not found the proper use for the land that abuts that location. I'm saying, when you go elsewhere and you see how river banks in the cities have been harnessed, and even people sit on boats and they pay money for it to the state. And what we are still doing here is to discharge huge, and forgive me, human waste.
Affluence.
And you want to blame who for all these problems? And this is a big enough space to carry a lot of the waters from elsewhere, from the top through to the sea.
All right. So hold on for me.
So I'll hold on, but just to conclude. So my point is that until we change these things, and this one, I'm saying I've stopped blaming myself and the people.
Oh.
Yes, I have stopped, because I think we've unduly blamed ourselves as ordinary people. We put the assemblies in particular in place so they can deal with these situations that are close to them. Let's find the appropriate amount for them so that they can use their own internally generated funds and the one that will be added to it by the state, and deal with these things without needing to even get approval from the state at the highest level.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Yawapong. I'll take Franklin, and then I'll take closing remarks on this from Engineer Mahama. Then we can go to the Nigeria issue. You know, Honorable has a very tight schedule today. He's giving us some time. So I need to move on to that issue before he runs away from us. Okay. So, Franklin, let me hear from you.
Well, it's becoming like a broken record, really.
Does it get flooded where you live?
Does it do what?
Does it get flooded where you live?
Not quite, but I am beginning to think that the roadworks, the Pokwasi interchange, some of the diversions that are being done may lead to some flooding. And I probably will be having a word with one of the contractors there. But like I said, this is becoming a broken record, really. These conversations about flooding, it makes really nonsense of the extensive and expansive knowledge the likes of Engineer Mahama and all the people within that space have. I mean, you hear the lethargy from the the assemblies, and then you hear that there's just total disregard for land use planning, which is the real issue here, really. I mean, how many times haven't we had floods and bemoan the fact that people are built in waterways, and some may be due to natural causes. And I'm sure Engineer Mahama and his friends have done well to at least upgrade the hydrological and geographical maps of Ghana. And they've studied at least the last 10 seasonal floods that we've had, and then compared with build a model, which I'm sure you hear a lot from what Engineer Mahama speaks about, really. And so there's just sheer knowledge. There's abundance of knowledge as to what ought to be done. And I think that the challenge here has always been the lack of, the expansive powers of the state, which may change if one of the most important legacies of Nanado, if it comes to pass, which is the devolving power to people. I think that is his best legacy, by the way. If it comes to pass, what it means is that the assemblies will be much more empowered, because now power will reside in the people. And hopefully the fiscal decentralization will also follow, because they also need the money to do some of these things. When that is done, I suspect persons who flout rules will be significantly dealt with. I have a theory that, look, those who are built in waterways, those who are obstructing natural waterways, should actually be charged in appropriating some of these revenues in order to construct diversions and what have you. And I think that can only happen if you have a much powerful assembly, because then people themselves in communities who elect their own representatives will be empowered to have these conversations. But like the way it is now, it's always difficult. It's always become politicized, even if assemblies want to take action. Apart from the fact that the people who are appointed have no powers to, as it were, let the assembly do what the assembly ought to do. So I'm seeing some bright spots. Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure about the investment plans because they never have worked. I think they are just avenues for people to chest stamp that we also got some billions or millions to invest in some drainage system which never works. I think the real
quite confident about this particular project.
Well, I mean, I'm not an eternal pessimist. So I'm ready to understand that there's a new approach. But $200 million is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And one would have thought that we'll hear the plans properly. We've heard all of it before. I think we need to do simple things, empowering our local assemblies, which I suspect will be coming, and then giving them the power to be able to restrict this kinds of unwanted development. And it's sad, really, as Yao talks about the fact that we are not taking advantage of our environment, right? Where the Kole has become a dumping site for all kinds of effluent, when it could have been a touristic site. Yao talks about, I think you're referring to Cambridge. You pay £20 and you do a boat ride.
In Amsterdam also.
Well, you do all of that. We are not different human beings. We are the same, and we are able to think. So I'm just saying that as part of this $200 million, whatever that is being announced, we should be creative also about some of these aesthetic aspects of our environment. That should be part and parcel of our land use plan. I mean, that's all I can say.
All right.
Otherwise, again, let's not wait for next year.
Let me chip in one word before we let the good engineer. Yeah, see, for what Franklin it's putting out, for it to work, we need to also build the capacities of the staff or the people who put in the assemblies. You see, if you give 200 million to an assembly that doesn't have the capacity to deal with that kind of money, you will still come back to square zero. The question is, the people who sit in these assemblies as staffs or as reps from the various organizations, what capacity do they possess before bringing them there? Or what level of experience must they acquire before they are transferred to these places? Sometimes you go to an assembly, you find out from an urban roads rep why there are potholes. He sees there are potholes in the area and they cannot fill them. They don't even have the resource. They're not giving anything in terms of finances to even sort that small problem out. So you see the pothole there, and it will be there till he reports to his regional engineer, or regional engineer reports to the director. Director goes, and you see, that notwithstanding, when there's a capacity building, let me say, opportunity, do we only give it to the people at the headquarters, or we come down to the assemblies to also build the capacity of these people? It's also very important. Because as I said, I have been around for some time. And the first time that I built here in Ghana, I didn't go to an assembly for a permit. I went to town and country planning at the Rivera Beach area. And there you would see people. Then it was even a woman who was in charge of permits in my area. And when she speaks, you know that she speaks, authoritatively, engineering language. Yeah. But now I just don't know. So if you go and put a DCE who hasn't even probably mixed mortar before in her life, you put a works committee head who is only an assemblyman, whose capacity is probably up to the level of a businessman. And you put all these people together. The only person that knows our buildings, Mr. Imani, is a BT student who is the planning officer. My God, what do you want to achieve in the future? This is what we should be looking at.
But all of that will change if the president gets the nod through the referendum. That will happen on December 17th.
And
because I believe those things will change. Which is, I still say that, overwhelmingly yes.
Thank
because you see, that's his biggest legacy.
Thank you.
That will be the biggest legacy of the president.
And it's coming from no other person than Franklin Kudo.
I mean, I thank you. Because development will flow from it. Then, after that, district communities to decide whether they want free SHS or not.
Let's just read a couple of messages and then Engineer Mahama can wrap up this conversation. We talk about what is happening in Nigeria. Frankly, is international relations, so we'll get there.
No, I'll still have this discussion with you someday, but not on set though.
Okay, so somebody is reporting a factory in Tema to us this morning. So Ken Agboli from Tema says there's a factory being put up on the motorway opposite Japan Motors. I know, but look into this one. It's very close to the motorway and it will disturb future development. Please check it out. So there's a factory being put up on the motorway opposite Japan Motors. So Anaba Henkra, this is for you. Afa Jacob from Yendi says the truth is Accra is choked. The capital needs to be moved from Accra to the north to avert this persistent flood. It's also flooding in the north.
Fantastic.
Awudi from Martina, good morning. Awudi, always good to hear from you. He says, Godfrey, it appears our leaders from the grassroots to the national level have all the theoretical solutions to our problems, but we lack the practical solutions as well. Again, we the citizens also contribute to this perennial flooding, and if we do not change our attitudes, then we will continue to experience till thy kingdom come. Samuel is asking, how long should it take for a building permit to be granted in Ghana? And how long does it actually take for it to be granted? Does the permit go at a cost? And how much is it? That is a question that he is asking. I don't know if this is the right platform to ask that question, but thank you very much for the message. Let me see. That's Charles Nyame from Asamanka. So now it has become an annual ritual in Ghana where we have to bemoan about flood after every heavy downpour. And you can't say every downpour, it's downpour. And instead of government to show leadership in finding lasting solutions to the problem, they have also joined us, the citizens, to complain. What a country. That is what he feels about it. So, Engineer Mahama, wrap up this for me quickly, and then we can take
let me just make a small... I think some of my colleagues, they will be coming at me because of something I said. When I said...
feel free.
I'm okay with it.
So.
No.
You see, engineering
you see, when I speak about the fact that the assemblies have like the works head, the planning and other things, I even said that even myself, I cannot of myself approve of a certain structure with a certain dimension.
You said that.
When you get to that stage, you need to get experts in earthquake, structures, geotech. They have to come and actually sit down and vet the drawing. Because somewhere along the line, there might be some mistakes. When you're putting up those high-rise buildings about 17, 18 floors, there's a wind load that can even turn the building at a certain level. In Dubai, for instance, there was a time they were making the construction that they said on a certain level, there are some songs that you cannot play. Music, the resonance, the sound would have an effect on the structures.
Oh.
Yes. So they should know that it's not that they are not qualified enough, but we need to have, like the works head, we need to get other engineers who are supposed to compensate for his shortfalls so that they can all move together. Yeah. On the motorway, before...
but just to say this, do the engineers find it attractive enough to even go to a district somewhere out of Accra? I think that is also important.
All of that will be changing soon.
Well,
it's not attractive, really.
Yes. Yeah.
You meet some of them and they tell you, we are armchair planners. Nothing happens here. Because everything is dictated by the DCE.
Yes,
and the remuneration and the incentives.
You see, apart from those who are there are some people at the assembly, when they are sent there, in fact, for 20 years, they don't even do their own refresher courses. And they don't. And I have a guy like Engineer Bruce, he's from the works to environment. You see, you need to up your game when you say that the challenges are just coming at you. Now, on the motorway, like we said that the rich men are the ones who actually give us the wahala. Let me finish one thing there. You see, in the wisdom of the engineers who did the road construction at Motorway, for instance, you see, most roads are supposed to go slightly higher than the adjoining lands.
Exactly.
So that you have your culvert and you know where you are supposed to discharge the water. From like the abattoir all the way to like Ashima. It's a material, even to Pram Pram. It's an area with what we call high matrix clay. That's why anytime there's water in that material, it just expands so quickly. When I was young, Ashima was a rice farm.
Yes.
Yeah. And now, if the outlet of the culvert takes the water out, it doesn't get a wider, because that type of material takes a longer time before the water will infiltrate. So it needs a wider area for the water to just gush there and stay for long. Yes. Now all that place have been taken away.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then before they even get to the stage of developing, they go to Shire Hills. They go to like a Brie area, Amra here, and go and buy boulders and material and come and fill to the level of the road and live in. So you see, there are some things that your government can do easily, and that will support. When you have an outlet at the motorway and just about 20 meters away, there's a building. That building ought to go. Because the motorway is 50 years. Those buildings there are not up to 10 years. So if somebody sees that this is an outlet of a culvert supposed to intercept all the water on the motorway and then empty it there, and you have your structure there. If it's a warehouse, it's a building, and that building ought to go so that we can have a longer area for the water to actually go and then
do its own thing.
Yeah. Secondly, I've been hearing this that we need to cover all our drains. It is never true. And it cannot be done. If you cover the door, how would you use the boat on it?
No, but the Odo is not a drain.
I'm coming. Oh, it's a storm drain.
No, but it wasn't created as a storm drain.
No,
it's not a river, though. A river.
Yes.
No, fine. At a point in time,
you see, I'll give you a reason why. GUTA in the UK before.
No. I'll tell you why this is supposed to be done.
Well,
this one.
By the way, just hold on. We must all acknowledge the presence of Sydney Casely here. We'll talk about your time later. It's
He's being mysterious.
You see,
this acknowledgement.
Outside Ghana, when you say you want to leave your drains covered, there are about 3 things you have to do. The first thing you have to know is that when you have to cover your drains, you have to look at whether the adjoining lands are lower. If they are low, you can cover your drains. If they are not low and your drain is down, you have to see whether you have actually covered the weathered material or the gravel. Otherwise, the flood will double what you have to do by covering it.
Yeah.
So in elsewhere where you travel to, you see that before they actually cover the drain, the whole land there has been grassed.
So why can't that be done
So
here?
I'm giving you the reasons why we have to do before you can cover the drain. If you don't have grassing or somewhere line concrete, if it rains, the debris cannot even go through the small you're going to leave on the cover.
These, and it's more difficult for these paints to even grow than in Ghana.
Let's engineer wrap up for me. I have to go to Nigeria.
And then you see, the money that they are bringing, the $200 million, I would want to just send a message through
this passage
that
is very influential.
You see, just after Abofu, just before you get to Abofu, the Achimota new overhead, I've made this complaint. He will bear me witness. There are about 20 of the slabs, which have actually caved into, and this is about 4 or 5 years. It was constructed by Interbetin 2002 to 2004 after they finished the Cape Coast Hospital. That's their second activity. Just after the bridge, there's this, like we're going to the ABC, there's this refuse dump along the earth storm drain. So anytime it rains,
is that a major storm drain?
Yeah,
is that a major storm drain?
That's what's leading to goes under the bridge to Abofu to Odo.
Okay,
that's the major one that intercepts all the water from Brekusu, Ajimenti, Pukwase, Kwabenya, Domi. All that water that is intercepted is from that side. And just after the Abofu bridge, the overhead, the whole place is not lined. So if it's not lined, when the rain comes that way, it brings all the silt to Accra. You know, when it's raining, nobody dumps silt in the drain. So this Odo is about 90% silt. Let's forget. You see, we have been talking about the rubber polythene bag. It's about 90% silt, and silt is not carried by a human being into the drain. So this 200 million, if you do not extend the line drain beyond Abofu to like Domi, Brekusu area, we'll bring the $200 million next year and they sell this place. You know, I just did a small calculation about this small area. It's about 3 kilometers. You see the 3 kilometers here? It's about 6 meters deep and then 20 meters wide. The Odo here. And that volume of material that would adjust about approximately of 3 kilometers is about 270,000 cubic meters of material. So if you have about 10 trucks to actually distill this, it takes about 160 days and beyond. Because you cannot, that cubic material cannot be dumped here in Accra. You have to go at the outskirts of Kaswa or Amasaman or whatever it is to go and dump that. That material is a very good material anyway. Yes, but before you travel and go and dump, if you're using here about 10 trucks, that'll take about over 160 days for the distilling. And before the 160 days, that's about most like half a year. The drinks are coming again.
So you'll be distilling the same place.
You'll be
distilling the same place all year.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abdullah Mahama, for your insight. It's always good.
I'll bring him to my assembly to give him.
Yes.
I'm going to talk to the MC
guy, man,
to bring you around so that you give a little
people have written about this. They are gathering that.
Yes, I'm sure if we have all these knowledge,
it will help.
We would use them to
I think this intervention is key.
The one on the distilling.
The last project, how the money will be used. It has to be really comprehensive and not just focus on a particular area.
Because if you distill here, the rains will come in.
They need to fix that problem.
So you can rest assured that we'll do it.
So Honorable Ayenkra, please fix it. Please send this message back to your colleagues. So that ends our conversation on
let's Sydney chip in a word.
Storm drains. Sydney is late. I'm going to Nigeria.
He wants to bully me.
No, but
we are happy to have you back. Last week we missed you.
Chipping.
You do not normally that. He's not bothered at all.
Flooding at the border. Then you link it.
Your point is being my lawyer, but don't worry. Say him here counsel.
You have your own way. All right, so let's do a bit of Nigeria. Now, Nigeria's recent announcement confirming that it's closing its borders to prevent movement of all goods has been met with some criticism from neighbors and regional advocates. Now, the Buhari administration has justified this as a measure to curb smuggling into their country and also to basically also generate revenue for their own ports. Now, the effect of this is that some traders who ply their businesses between Ghana and Nigeria say they've been compelled to reduce the volumes of goods transported due to the border closure by Nigeria. We also have a lot of trucks that are locked up at that border. And the reason why Honorable Ayenkra is here is because he's been in Nigeria the whole week, I think, 2 days, trying to sort issues out with the Deputy Foreign Minister in Nigeria, also speaking to some of the traders. So he'll give us first-hand insights on this. But let's take a listen to what has been going on, because the ripple effect of this has also been that GUTA are up in arms in Kumasi and Accra, saying that Monday morning, if Honorable Ayenkra and his people don't make headway, they are going to close down and get rid of all foreigners in retail in the country. Let's take a listen to the report.
The Nigerian border closure has spanned for over 2 months now. The development has triggered rounds of official engagements between the governments of Ghana and Nigeria to get it resolved. The issue keeps biting businesses and other allied services by the day. At the DVIP station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, drivers and their mates were idling as they waited for passengers to come on board. As at 3 p.m., the first 7-passenger car for the day was yet to be full. Head of operations here, David Olusegun, says business has been slow. He says they now load only a car instead of 2 a day.
The closure of the border has affected us drastically since August. And we have been finding it very difficult to comply with our customer. I mean, those who normally bring goods to us, because of the closure of the border, their number have reduced drastically. It is only little that have the mind that, okay, let me just try my luck. It is under maybe the goods might enter, some might not enter. You just try your luck. So the closure of border has affected us, even beyond what you can bear for now. You can also see the old terminal is very dry, and it was not like that before. Normally, we normally load twice a day, morning, night. But now, even this is the first bus now. We are loading it for night, and it's supposed to go this morning. But because there is no passenger, so we are pushing it to night, which was not like that before.
Michael Obiagwa trades in apitamin syrup, and he has very slim hope of transporting some of his products to Nigeria. He says he has to transport fewer goods as a result of the directive, which is worrying his business.
Before I take more than 100 cartons, but now we're taking it 5 cartons, 10 cartons, 20 cartons, not much like that. And the money that we used to take it now is higher than before because of closing of the border. No, for here we are paying much money here to carry it. Yeah, from now I'm taking more than 40 something carton now. Yeah, like 3 months ago, I take more than 100, 200 cartons in a month.
Unfortunately for Olusegun, a customer is demanding his goods, which has been seized at the border for a couple of days now.
Some have come here to try to with police. We have to beg them that it's not our fault. It is the closure of the border, and some reason with us. They reason with us by asking what is the way out. Even as I'm talking to you now, I'm supposed to travel to Lagos to Seme to go and find out how I can bail out some of the goods, because the owner, they came here yesterday, they will see come here on Friday. They'll be here on Friday. I beg them they should give me like 3-4 days so that I can see the way out. If it is what I can solve, I will call them that see. But if it is not what I can solve, then I have to come back for negotiation that, okay, let's now do, how much do you buy your goods so that I will know what to return back. All this, they were not like this before. It is all because of the closure of the border.
At the ABC Travels, which is located at Caprice in Accra, we were met with virtually an empty bus terminal with frustrated passengers. Also, there were packs of goods yet to be transported to Nigeria. An agent at the transport station who wants to stay anonymous says their business has been greatly affected.
Anytime you came to ABC Terminal, you saw a lot of people here buying tickets, people who have come to Ghana to buy and to go and sell back home in Nigeria or in Togo or in Benin. But because of this closure, especially for those going to Nigeria, they are unable to come here in their numbers. In that.
So yeah, that's what's been happening in town. And I have Honorable Carlos Ayinko, who's been to Nigeria and back. Honorable, why is it that you are not sitting down with the Nigerians and telling them that, look, you people said we should give you 28 days to sort your border issues out. It's been 28 days and more. You are causing my people a lot of problems across the border. You are playing nice with the Nigerians. Why?
Well, I like that last statement, but for your information, you see, Nigeria is a sovereign country. Nigeria has their own rights and, of course, their own laws. Despite the fact that they belong to the regional body ECOWAS, they have a right to protect their country, as Ghana has a right to protect our own country. So if they find anything untoward, especially if it's to do with national security, as they are saying, then they have to move into action and see how they can solve this problem. So let me start from the beginning. We got wind of this closure of border from our colleagues, our friends in the GUTA fraternity. A month ago, I would say. Apparently, Nigeria had closed its borders with Benin somewhere in August. August 20th. Yeah. We didn't know anything because we don't share borders with them. So when they told us, immediately we called a meeting of all stakeholders at the Foreign Ministry to find out what was happening. And that's where they put a problem across, that this is what has happened at the border. And trucks belonging to, let me say traders in Ghana are stuck at the Seme border. And those Nigerian trucks also coming outside are also stuck at the other end. So indeed, we told them that we're going to find a way to solve the problem. Just give them some kind of good works for them to exercise restraint. Then immediately move into action. The foreign minister went to see the Nigeria High Commissioner to confirm the story, which was positive. So they reported to the president. And the president says, no, you guys, you foreign minister and the trade minister have to move immediately to Nigeria to see how he can solve this problem. So 2 weeks ago, they left in a company of stakeholders like GUTA, AGI, and so on. Now, when they came back, in fact, it was a very nice response. They were surprised how Nigeria received them, and the fact that they didn't know that this closure was going to extend to affect Ghana and even Cote d'Ivoire and so on. Their reason for closing the border, they say, was strictly based on national security issues. Mm-hmm. They claim that, and we know, that Nigeria is one of the few countries in Africa that suffers a lot of terror and terrorism. So they've realized that a lot of ammunitions and guns come through that angle. So they have to find a way to curtail or stop that from happening. And secondly, they have put in place measures to control the inflow of certain products or certain imports into their country, namely like rice, sugar, and so on, pharmaceuticals, and so on, just so they can produce these items or these foodstuffs or these products in their country. Yeah. So, and it wasn't targeted only at African countries, West African countries, or even, one particular country in the world. Okay. It was something that was, directed towards the economic transformation agenda, which they were driving. And for that particular 41 items, if any of the West African sub-region countries that was enjoying the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme exported anything to this country, what we did was you apply to the Foreign Ministry of Nigeria, and they will in turn get you to get your product to enter. That is if you are only from the sub-region. So let's put that one aside. So when my minister and the foreign minister came back, they gave the report to the president. I mean, they said, look, we didn't know that it affected you. We think that what we can do going forward is to create a window where Ghana, Nigeria goods can be exchanged for them to exit. Immediately, what we want you to do in the interim is to go out there and you tell us number of trucks that are stuck in the Ghana side, Benin side. We would also do from our side number of trucks that are stuck on this side. Then we'll find a way to let them exit. Then the Commissioner of Customs in Nigeria and the Commissioner of Customs in Ghana should collaborate to see if they can have a customs union to exchange information with regards to these things going forward.
This is this week?
This was last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it was a very interesting response that we received. So the president now goes and says, look, then you guys move on and let's see what the next steps could achieve. So on Wednesday morning, we were, myself and the Deputy Foreign Minister, Oredu, and a team from Ghana Export Promotion Authority who had a truck sitting there that was supposed to enter for a fair that was going on in Lagos. And a few of these stakeholders joined us. And we drove all the way to the Semi-border to see what the problems were. And in fact, it was heartbreaking. Because if you go there and see Ghanaian drivers and mates who never envisaged that we're going to spend 2 months, 3 months at the border, who only travel with just one clothes, top and bottom,
and can't return.
Yes, you can't return because when you return, you need to have enough fuel and stuff, logistics to come back with. Who only went probably with just say 100 Ghana cedis because they know they were not going to stay for long, and eating and so on wasn't going to be a problem for them. These guys, some of them have been sitting there for 3 months since August. So we put all of them together in the room. I mean, we're lucky to have the Beninois Foreign Ministry accosting us. They gave us a hall. We put all of them together. We could cut about 90 to 100 mates and drivers there because there were over 50 trucks locked up at the border. So we spoke to them, gave them some comforting words, assured them of our every effort to get the border open so that they can come on and stuff. And of course, because we didn't know the situation there, we didn't even prepare. So everything in our pockets, we just brought them out. And on behalf of the president of Ghana, we donated this money to them. And ideally, I think what happened was we counted about 90 people. So we said, let everybody get about 5,000 sefa, which was good for them. The noise that they made there, in fact, I was saddened. Because, I mean, 200 sefa, 500 sefa, you could buy food and survive. So at least they have something to live on for 10 days, which they were very, very happy.
Which is good enough, which is enough time for you to sort this out?
We would even sort it out before then. But if it doesn't happen, I think that the president or probably the foreign minister herself will take a decision.
Are you hopeful?
I am very hopeful. Honestly, very, very hopeful. But we'll get to that later. So the following morning, we had to sleep, come back to Cotonou and sleep. The following morning, we went into Nigeria. Then we had we had a session with the foreign ministry, the trade ministry, and of course the customs commissioner. The first one we went to see was the trade ministry. Amazingly, when we got there, the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce itself was also organizing a demonstration against the closure of this border and asking them to open. And we didn't know, we just went to fall into it. And were quickly pushed away by the police because it was a very, very dangerous situation. The minister herself didn't even come close.
Okay.
So they had to take us to a hotel somewhere to go and meet her. And we presented our case. Presented a letter that has been issued by the foreign minister for them to know the situation report on what has happened at the border. And also appealed to her if it was possible for them to at least allow just the Ghana Export Promotion Authority track to enter, just to come and partake in the fair. Because the only fair that we get, Ghanaian products shown to Nigerians, and Nigerians who are interested also indulge in them and so on and so forth. But she said the power was not in her hands. She was going to see what she would do. And from there we left for the foreign ministry. We met the foreign minister. We spoke at length. And he came back with the same story, that this thing shouldn't be seen as targeting Ghana. In fact, he recounted the relationship Ghana has with Nigeria and everything, and apologized sincerely that he didn't know that it was going to get to this stage. But he went ahead to say, tell us how Nigeria was suffering from these border thing with Benin. He even explained that if you consider the fact that Benin, with 12 million people, is the world's 5th largest importer of rice. Mm-hmm. Last year, the importer was at tune about $1 billion. All those rice found themselves into the Nigerian market. Indeed, he even said that they are aware that about 128,000 metric tons of rice is stashed in Benin now, which has to find a way in the Nigerian market. That's why they have to lock these things. And ever since they locked the border, they have improved revenue collection.
Which is going to be my question.
On a daily basis, they are able to collect $9 billion. That's why I said, look, because people who are not able to use Benin anymore and cannot stay, especially for the reason that the collected money from the bank have to pay, now we're forced to use the Nigeria port, Apapa, Tinkan, and so on. So they are forced to pay the actual duties instead of going through Benin's borders. Mm-hmm. And it makes a lot of sense, because if I've taken money from a bank to, let's say, indulge in a business, and that business is such that I don't go through the actual route into Nigeria, that's the Nigeria port, but I go through an adjoining country because I can save on part of the duty. And now it's come that the people have seen the light and close this gate. I cannot wait for them to open, because we don't know when they are going to open. So you will be forced to come through the borders, the port. And that has actually maximized the collection. He told me, he said, one day, 9.2 billion Nigerian naira. I don't know how much that works into proper money.
They're making $25 million a day, which is, again, I get the narration and everything. I followed the story. Brings me to my question of, I heard Hamid Ali, who you've mentioned.
Yes.
And Hamid Ali says, which was 2 days ago, he is not interested in opening the border.
Yes.
Primarily for the same reasons that you've just enumerated.
Exactly.
That he is making $25 million a day.
Yes.
So he is not concerned with what happens on that border.
Yes. No, he's not saying he's not concerned. He is not ready to open that border. And any country will do that.
Yes.
You see,
but that is Nigeria's interest. Like you've described, it's fine for them.
I'm coming.
But you have Ghanaians who need you to come up with a solution.
Yes, that's the solution we are coming up with. You heard me say that we are going to create a special window for these Ghana trucks to be able to move.
The corridor, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yes, but that's so I'm coming. I'm making a point.
Okay.
So after coming up with this observation about the maximization of revenue and stuff like that, he promised again that Nigeria has considered doing this with Ghana and having that exchange. So the Commissioner of Customs of Ghana and the Commissioner of Customs of Nigeria are supposed to sit down and come up with modalities.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he even went ahead to promise that on Monday they are having a crunch meeting.
This Monday.
This Monday. Okay. And after that Monday crunch meeting, they're going to get into it. As Hamid Ali I met. And this Monday, after the crunch meeting, they are going to come out with a very brilliant announcement. So we should all open our ears. He couldn't promise anything because there's...
But you're optimistic?
Very optimistic. I will tell you why.
Okay, tell us why.
Because
he wants to know why.
Yes, I'll tell you why. From there, when we went to the Commissioner of Customs, we spoke the same. We had the same conversation. At the Foreign Ministry, I still repeated my plea that at least they should allow the GEPA truck to enter because of the fare. And when I got to the Commissioner of Customs, I did the same. I made the same plea. Fortunately, we came back Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon when our flight landed here in Ghana. Friday dawn, I got a call that they've allowed the GEPA truck to enter Nigeria.
Okay.
It's a sign of good faith. At least it tells me that whatever we went there to do has been listened to. And for me, if they say we should wait and listen to something on Monday, we will do that. Fortunately, when we got to the Commissioner of Customs, the Commissioner's rep who went with us, also had a very hearty discussion with him. And they were all, on one side, saying that it is important that they have a customs-to-customs cooperation where they will exchange information even about goods that are about to leave Ghana to Nigeria, not leaving Ghana to Nigeria, about, so that they will do the same for us. If Kasapreko is going to ship 10 containers of goods to Nigeria, they will know about it even before the trucks leave here. Similarly, if a Nigerian trader in Kaswa or Nigerian trader in Kantamanto is going to bring Brunei from Nigeria to here, we will know about the quantity of those goods before even leaves Nigeria. And that is the kind of information that we need to also sort ourselves out here. Now,
I wanted to go to him a bit before I come to you.
If I don't make the point, because you see,
okay, then make the point.
People make these points and they try to align the Nigeria border closer to the
GUTA incident.
Yes.
I'll separate that.
There are two very different issues. And I say there are two very different issues from my own understanding. I'll tell you why. GUTA's problem, or one of their problems, is that Nigerians bring goods from Nigeria. They don't know how they bring them in, but at a cheaper rate. And they're able to sell them cheaper for them. So if that were true, let's assume without admitting that was true. If that were true, today the border has been closed. So these Nigerians cannot bring the goods anymore to sell them cheaper than you sell them in the market. So then why shouldn't we be happy that the border is closed, that they cannot bring the goods in to sell? Must we take a retaliatory situation? That is my point of view. I don't know how anybody sees it. So one would have thought that if you want to align these two situations, then you'll be making a mistake, because I think the closure of the border should rather be to the advantage of my trading brothers and sisters here in the country. You understand? So don't let us align these two. Okay. GUTA has their situation already. They have their problem already with this, what is happening in Ghana, which we all admit that is a painful situation, which we must talk about. Which, if you give me the permission, we'll also talk about that one.
Yes.
But now you asked me about the border, and that's what I'm telling you. So, for your information, Monday, I'm sure we'll also hear something and come back and tell you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Carlos Arinka. So, he's done a very good job of giving us background to what exactly the government has been doing and trying to alleviate the situation, the diplomatic engagements that are being made. Everything looks to be going on point. Let me come to Nana Puku, who is the Greater Accra Secretary of GUTA. Have you spoken to your members? You have good news to go and report, Nana Puku, when you go back. He says Monday. Monday. There's a meeting. There's a meeting.
Pregnant.
Thank you for the question. All the narrative. I think the last part is where I actually agree with Honorable Carlos. And he seemed to lack a little bit information about where Nigerians are bringing in these materials. I have them in my hands. All these are banned in Nigeria. That means you cannot clear these goods in Nigeria. They are clearing from Cotonou through our porous borders, and then it enters the market. The goods are not coming from Nigeria. That is why it is not affecting anything. And, you know, for this thing that is happening with Nigeria, the man spoke. You watch the video. They are making money. For the traders, we will advise government to take a cue. We have arable land here. This rice importation in Ghana, who are benefiting? Is the Lebanese. Not a single Ghanaian can import a shipload of rice. It has been actually left for these Lebanese, and they are bringing in 20-year salute rice into Ghana. The Nigerians,
that's an allegation, and stay away from.
The Nigerians have started a good path. If they keep on pressing,
you support it,
my brother. This is good governance.
Oh, okay.
It will give a lot of jobs to Nigerians. I'm telling you. Coming back to the situation, Carlos was able to conclude very well. It has nothing to do with the closure of the border. Look, we have laws in Ghana. Our domestic laws are supreme than the ECOWAS protocols. This is where GUTA is telling government to act. Government is behaving like a young lady who have not even had sex before.
Oh, mind your language on my program. This is syndicate language.
Please, let me flow.
What is wrong with what he's saying? It's a nice analogy.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
You mean like a virgin?
Like a virgin.
Thank you.
That's what they meant to say.
Carlos is joking here.
No, you didn't even say that they are behaving, you know.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's stay.
Look, government.
That's not to say virginity is wrong.
Yes.
Sydney, let us go.
There's nothing wrong with good sex.
Thank you very
With
much.
what?
With good sex.
Sydney.
Oh, God.
Government.
I think we had taken this into other realms. I
Yes.
think the gentleman meant
Nana Poku, please. We get him.
someone. Yes.
We get
We
him.
meant
Are we on air?
We are. Nana Poku, please continue.
The interest in that part is
Don't mind them.
Your listeners too are interested in that part.
very much.
Sydney, Sydney, let's keep him on.
Don't be led into temptation.
So what we are saying
Yes.
is that government should be bold enough. Because currently you could see that we are actually joking with a lot of things in the country. We have very fine laws that seeks to protect the indigents. And today, if we are being told to be patient for things that are not supposed to happen to us, look, we've nurtured peace. Remember, what is making them attracted enough to come into Ghana? We have nurtured peace. We have peace. There are about 200 and something million people. What are they going to sell over there within the retail sector? We, GUTA, the country doesn't belong to us. We cannot say somebody should leave the country. No. But the market, they will leave.
You are not willing to compromise with
no.
on Monday.
Whilst some people have actually placed a very good law to protect me, the flamers of it, God will forever bless them.
But the government has also told you several times that they are trying to work around this situation.
My
that
brother,
it does not escalate.
my brother,
Relatively.
let us not go there. They have failed, willfully failed to handle this situation.
Anawa, what is your response to that?
You see,
He doesn't sound, his group doesn't sound, he speaks for his group.
I can understand.
It doesn't look like they are happy.
I can understand, but you see, it's never been easy on any government to go ahead and implement laws which would set up one group against another.
Or set up one laws must be repealed.
No, you let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Set up one group against another. One group against the government itself. I can understand where GUTA is coming from. Indeed, for your information, if you didn't know, for GUTA, I have been part and parcel of GUTA from the onset.
Yeah, I know.
And where I'm coming from, I am even more GUTA than the GUTA itself. So I know what I'm talking about. They are not even the first people to stop this kind of agitation. When I was the president of Ghana, I was afraid for this. Even 3 presidents before me, we fought for foreigners who are taking over the business of custom brokerage. not freight forwarding, custom brokerage. Because we are not an island on our own, you cannot say that you allow anybody to come in and do this business. It's an investment. They want to come, fine. But when you come, if the law actually precludes foreigners, and in this case, if you look at the Customs Act, I think 865 or something, it is actually reserved freight for custom brokerage to indigenous Ghanaians. But yet, today when you go to customs, they are still licensing foreigners to do this business. And
so
the foreigners,
the law.
I'm coming. The foreigners, yes, of course. The foreigners are doing more business than the indigenous. Then they forget that when they get the money, they will take the money out for our pressure, the pressure on our city to still exist. So I know what they are suffering even better than myself. Unfortunately for them, and what I always keep on telling them, the law as we met, the GIPC law as we met, that which is, I think, Act 865, is it?
Yeah.
Act 865. That law has been in existence for some time. It was, I think, amended in 2013. And since the time that it came into existence, it has not been enforced before. Well, part of it have been, used, but the part that deals with offenses and penalties has not been enforced as one would have expected. In 2013, it was amended. And even with amendment, it became worse. For example, if you look at the offenses column, which is section 40, the only thing there that aids or supports GUTA in their quest to fight these canker is a G, which says that a person offends the law when they let out a stall or a store to a foreigner. The law does not tell you when the foreigner takes a store, what happens to him as a penal provision, what happens to that foreigner. It doesn't say, it's very silent. You see, so if in the penal provision on the offenses, it is rather directed at the person who is giving the store, the shop, to the foreigner, and you'd rather go attacking the foreigner instead of the person who let out the shop to him, then what are we doing? Yesterday on a radio program, I asked the host, I said, show me a one-line sentence in the law which says that if a foreigner takes a shop and contravene this law, the penalty is to come and lock your shop. And who locks that shop? I am only saying this to arrive at the point that the law is so handicapped in its effect, and it is not going to achieve the purpose for which my brothers in GUTA want us to achieve. In getting the indigenous Ghanaian into the customs law, I was very, very effective in getting that there. Because I pushed initially when they say a Ghanaian company, we had these foreign companies coming to argue that a company that has been registered in Ghana can be considered as a Ghanaian company, a Ghanaian citizen, the first Ghanaian citizen. So in rewriting the law, in amending the new customs, I said, let us change indigenous Ghanaian. It is inputted at indigenous Ghanaian, but yes, still, they are still finding a way around it. And the foreign companies who get to know about the business even before the business gets to the shores of Ghana are still being registered.
So is this a consideration we can make for this?
So I'm getting to that point. After GUTA started this agitation, the first thing my minister did, and again, let me also mention here, I mentioned it yesterday, this law is not a Ministry of Trade and Industry law. This is a GIPC law, Ghana Investment Promotion Law. Now, it is important to also note that GIPC is not an agency of the Ministry of Trade. GIPC is an agency under the office of the President. The minister in there that you see in the law is a minister that the President will choose at any time. The President can decide to select the Finance Minister to act if there's anything in there that the GIPC requests. They can ask the Trade Minister or anybody. Let us know this. But GUTA only comes to us because they see us as their mother ministry, and if anything is bothering them, they have to rush to us. And that's why we also come to the fore to help them. But in any case, it's the same government. So we don't want to even be seen as running away from responsibility. What we did as a ministry, and in fact, my minister had to call on GIPC to go back and review the law to support what our brothers have brought to the fore. And as I speak to you, they've gone on a retreat. I was on the board. Now I've been replaced by my.
Did you attend that retreat?
No. It was the board, GIPC board.
That is where the mistake is.
No, we are not done with the stakeholders. You take your time.
You've been a minister. You don't sell. All right. We are in the middle of the sunshine, selling. Yeah. We know how it pinches. So if you are in an air-conditioned room and you say you're thinking for me, it's not right.
Let me take a quick break and I'll be right back. Welcome back to the big issue. We are on a very heated conversation, very heated but cordial conversation between the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Honorable Carlos Ahinkra, also Member of Parliament for Tema West, and Nana Puku, who is the Deputy General Secretary for Greater Accra for GUTA. Honorable Ahinkra, you're making a point.
Yes,
Once you are Europe, then I can go to Franklin and Sydney.
Okay, you came in a bit too early.
Okay, forgive me.
Yes, you see, before any law can be amended, the management board would have to come up with the proposed amendments. Then we do what we call stakeholders consultation. So if it's GUTA, we'll call GUTA. If it's AGI, we'll call AGI. We'll call everybody so that they bring their inputs. Then we'll massage this into the law. Because I don't think that one was done in 20. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Okay.
Probably that was not done in 2013. But this time around, it's not going to happen like that. Okay. If you have the opportunity to speak to Youth, he'll tell you. He's been working on this new amendment for many, many, many months now. And I think that very soon we're going to call them. But let me make this quick intervention.
Please do.
You see, I don't want the GUTA exercise to be seen to as being targeting one particular country. You see, it's a very dangerous thing if that happens. And that's why we've always been putting our hands on their hearts to exercise restraint. Because you know that it's not only Nigerians who sell here.
Yeah.
Castley them sell here. Franklin them. Franklin, you are 100% Ghanaian?
Yes, sir.
Okay. you look like
Sydney. Sydney is more than 100% Ghanaian.
He's half Lulubi.
You see, there are Indians, there are Lebanese, there are Chinese, and so on and so forth. So, if we restrict our efforts, or if we just target these people, then the country that they are coming from, where they are coming from, will also retaliate. We know what happened when Nigerians were being harassed. Let me borrow the word harassed in South Africa. They had to burn down the whole South Africa embassy in Nigeria. You know how these guys can act. In fact, the last time we were meeting the foreign minister in Nigeria, he made mention of it. He said he has seen on social media that we are locking and harassing Nigerians in Ghana. But he thinks that it's because of the border closure. And that's where, at least, I need a sign of cross. Because if I had attributed to any other reason, it would have been a dangerous thing for us. So we should just have a size patient, the border will be open. I want us to understand that our actions should not be seen as only targeting these people. Because, as I said, and I've said it, that we need Nigeria, Nigeria needs us. I said this before, and the press, twisted it. I said, Nigeria, we need Nigeria more than. It's okay, whatever they want to say. But the most important thing is, today, if you look at the economy of Ghana, the president says he's industrializing. And in fact, everybody can see the transformation. If industry was growing at -%, today, Franklin will tell that it's being positive. We are manufacturing goods, which products I don't think the Ghanaian economy can absorb everything.
So we need markets.
So we need markets to offload these items. Today, we manufacture floor tiles in Ghana, which is more beautiful than the one that is imported. When it goes to Niger, when it goes to Ivory Coast, they stop them that this cannot come from Ghana. We need to go and prove within the rules of origin that these are Ghanaian products before they are allowed in. So it tells you that we need markets outside the borders of Ghana to offload these items. Then that money coming in will now also come and support the imports that we indulge in. Can you imagine what will happen one morning when we wake up and my brother cannot find dollar to import goods into the country? It's going to be chaotic. So we shouldn't be seen as cutting off the very people who are helping us. Because luckily, for 2 years running, and I don't know if Franklin would confirm this, 2 years running, our balance of trade has always yielded in surpluses. 2017, 2018, surpluses. It means we are doing something very good.
Okay.
If we cut the Nigeria aspect out, we are cutting one part of our body out, which will affect us in the future.
Thank you very much. I'll take final comments on you from GUTA, and then I can go to my other comments.
Let me pick one or two from ministers. We've actually visited almost over 19 markets in Nigeria.
That is GUTA?
Yes.
You went to Nigeria?
We sent a delegation, which I was part.
Okay.
To go and do our own checks. We were in the computer village, Lagos. I pretend as if I'm coming for a shop. they were able to spell it out. That Oga, now here you won't come sell. We be 200 million people. We don't allow foreigners to come and take shops here. But if you have goods, we go come and sell for you. I thought that was one part. We came to Demota. And then the same story. We thought, Alade Market in Ikeja, we thought we can find one Ghanaian who is operating in their market. 9. Are you getting it? What Mr. Carroll said is fantastic. That is why the intercontinental free trade is coming in. Things that we manufactured in the West Africa, it's okay. We can trade among ourselves, which GUTA, it is our hope that one day I will not import again. And not all of us are importers. Some of us within the GUTA fraternity are manufacturers.
Okay.
But we should note one thing. We can build all factories across Ghana. If the retailer do not go and sit under the sun and sell the end product from the factory, we are doing nothing. So the traders there are a major stakeholder to these new factories they are putting up. What we are saying is, whether law or whatever it is, let us not pick areas that we think is, alien to the law. The law is there. It has been spelled out that the Bojua Juma is actually a preserve for Ghanaians. We want our brothers Nigerians. It's not only Nigerians. You see, when we went out doing this exercise, he knows some of the findings is worse. Out of 321 Nigerians we found in Kumasi, only 2 was having a passport. Out of the 2, 1 was having a resident permit. What country are we running? Are we serious? He talks of security, implications. Are we selling Ghana out? That is why the police find it very You see, a Ghanaian can never hurt his own Ghanaian. If he lives in the country, he will be arrested. But these people find way, they commit crimes and find way and get out.
Calm down for
Wait, please, give me time so that we are educating the people over there. They are touting GUTA as, some sort of animals who are going around rampaging. No. We want to build Mother Ghana. It is us who can build our own nation, not the foreigners. So Honorable here in his utterances, we have a whole lot of beef against him because of the way. No, please, he's here. He's my big brother. I want him to know today that it's either his chose path to support the Ghanaians or support the foreigners. You can't serve 2 gods at the same time. Some of his altercations.
How can I support a foreigner?
Good.
It's not possible.
But some of your altercations are always
like
coming out in support of these foreigners.
No.
Wait, don't worry, Honorable. This is the assertion of the traders.
Yeah, so it's very wrong.
Yes, they hit you. They hit you because of
He's
that.
passing the message.
No, it's very wrong. Tell them it's very wrong. Let me see, please. Give me a second. See, let me tell you something. Where I stand, I cannot be seen to be militant. I cannot be seen to be antagonistic, especially when it comes to a foreigner. You think the president is not aware of what is happening? You think the president does not speak to us? But the president cannot come out and say that, do this. But on the quiet or inside, he's giving you direction as to how to handle this. What we have been telling you all the time is to exercise restraint, because we are constrained by the law that you want to rely on to do this exercise. We and you are on the same side. But I cannot stand beside you to deal with a particular country's citizens when I actually know what
the law is
the implication is. When I don't have any leg to stand on. So when your people insult me, I take it as some of the job hazards. there's nothing I can do about it. That is where you see it.
But
Because I also
you are aggravating the matter to the level which now you can.
How am I doing that?
Yes, that's why I'm telling you here. It's an opportunity seeing you, because right now your utterances is making the things worse, because we think we don't have the government on our side.
But so my minister spoke to you last 3 days. You had a meeting with him.
You see, Mr. Alan has been so much open to us. I must have to come.
But if Mr. Alan has been open to you, then he also been open to you.
Then wait, because wait. When things are muddy like this, he is the one who come and clear them. For people to still have the assurance that our minister is still with us. Let me not
digress. Yeah. Stay online for me.
Look,
you have 1 minute.
All that we are saying is, I've lost my voice because of the agitation. All that we are saying is, if not this law, we have institutions that these people are really abusing or doing worse of it. Immigration can take it up.
Exactly.
Ghana Standards Authority can take it up. Mm-hmm. And all these institutions that matters if this law is not biting enough. Because if you go to Ghana Standards Authority right now, the report that is there concerning substandard goods, you won't believe it. But we are allowing all these things to come into the country to hurt you and hurt me. Electrical cables is worse. It is being shipped from Cotonou to Ghana. That's why the GIPC people are really angry. All the time when Ghana, because if they are selling their own chip, as a citizen, that you attend funeral, you go to weddings, for Nigerians, well, you didn't come to your funeral or attend your wedding. All he thinks is making money and go away, because this is not his land. But the people whom you are taking taxes from are the ones that are suffering. So if this law is not paving way for your people to be happy, as government, it is now time for you to sit up and say, let us save our people. The Nigerians are saving their own. Why sitting down? And we don't do politics. But I tell Nana Akufo-Addo, if he doesn't do something about this, it will go a long way affecting the MPP. If not his second chance, the next person who will be coming will be affected.
Thank you, Nana Puku. Yes, I'm coming to you.
Just a second.
Just come in.
Let me
then I go to Franklin.
Because you see, some people may be wondering, what are these trading activities that are reserved for citizens? And I have the act. I just want to...
We are in your area. That's what you
just read clearly the list. So section 27 is on activities reserved for Ghanaians and Ghanaian-owned enterprises. So we have A. It says a person who is not a citizen or an enterprise which is not wholly owned by citizens shall not invest or participate in A. the sale of goods or provision of services in a market, petty trading or hawking or selling of goods in a stall at any place.
Is that a definition of what a stall is?
Yes, at any place. Yes. So we'll go to the definition section. Then we have the operation of taxi or car hire service in an enterprise that has a fleet of less than 25 vehicles. Then we have the operation of a beauty salon or a barber shop. The printing of recharge scratch cards for the use of subscribers of telecommunication services.
I don't even know how that
the production of exercise books and other basic stationery. The retail of finished pharmaceutical products. The production, supply, and retail of sachet water. And all aspects of pool betting, business, and lotteries, except football pool. Now, the minister, in consultation with the board, may by legislative instrument amend the list of enterprises reserved for citizens and enterprises wholly owned by citizens.
Does it say what happens if a person indulges in that? Is it that?
Yeah, the penalty section. The penalty section is here. Let me just quickly go there.
Okay. Who sells in stalls or sell any place?
Yes, the penalty section is here. It's all right, just a second. Yes, offences, section 40. A person commits an offence if that person is required by this act to register with the centre but fails to register or renew the registration, engages in an activity other than an activity for which that enterprise has been registered, applies any benefit conferred by or under this act for purposes other than the purpose for which the benefit was conferred, refuses or neglects to give information which the centre reasonably requires, refuses without lawful excuse to admit an officer or a designated agent into the premises, deliberately or negligently submits false or misleading information, lets out a stall or store in a market to a foreigner.
Good. That's a landlord.
Or otherwise contravenes a provision of this act. And then the penalty follows. But as you said, there is a landlord that commits the offence.
Exactly. Not the person who
but
is
of course,
selling.
I mean, he may also be charged with abetment.
But what happens to him?
He may be charged with abetment.
So,
then you go under Act 29.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is where the difficulty is.
And that's why the amendments are important.
That's where you have to be pushing. Push for the amendment to come quickly. But if you don't want the amendment to come, you want to use this law to punish people, you'll be failing. That is all I've been saying.
Fair point.
But then you see, just to conclude that when you look at the membership, I would have thought that clear provision, maybe in the amendment, would be made for persons like him. Because the one that comes close, membership of the board.
Membership of the board.
Of the board of the centre.
Okay. Well, they can make that submission when
that's what
they
I'm saying.
do the
So,
stakeholders.
because the one that comes close is the appointment of 4 people.
Yeah, by the president.
By the president, 2 of whom must be women.
Yes.
And also appointed outside the public services. So I think that is where you should also maybe specifically
lobby the president for him to
be made.
No, it's not possible. You can't make if GUTA wants to be on the board. AGI might say want to be there. GAC, Kujama Roma want to be there.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. Putting all these brains together.
But you would have to.
Economics is not different.
No, but the point is, I mean, if we say that 4 people,
so we should lobby the president rather.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. But of course, he has served a notice, which is quite disturbing, though. Should be for the politicians.
Which one?
About the voting. Lawyer, thank you.
We are many.
You see, he cannot.
We are many.
He cannot align with any other party. No, apart from a party that makes his business thrive, which is us.
Honorable Carlos.
But we will make him happy.
Honorable Carlos.
The number who says he will make you happy. Calm down.
Our people are many.
We know.
And as I speak, the traders are crying.
Why are they crying, Nana? When you have
he has explained. Calm down. Calm down. Let me go.
If that is your only problem,
gentlemen.
Honorable Alan Tremantin is on your side. Honorable Alan is a good party.
At the point
at the same time, you can't say the government is also not on your side.
He started the whole dialogue. And at a point, we had some issues. And we were actually wanting to see him as a big brother, calling him bad boys. No, he did not. Until meeting him today. Oh, bad boys, come here. I need to talk to you.
It's okay.
He did not.
I need to hear from Franklin on this. So let me go to Franklin.
So after the instructions, he's a big brother.
Calm down. Franklin, and it's the turn of Franklin and Sydney.
Certainly, when there are economic pressures that are all over the globe, give rise to opportunities for locals to complain. So certainly there's a place for the likes of GUTA and all other entities that feel that given the economic challenges, put it that way, their livelihoods stand threatened by some foreign actors. But the government and the country is not an island, which is what I hear Honorable Carlos saying. And I suspect that trying to balance international relations with domestic pressures, however grave they are, is the art of governance. Look, in South Africa, when the politicians actually thought that they could rally their base, they used a very depraved economic challenge which the country was suffering, and then made it look as if it was the foreigners' fault. But in actual fact, that also because there have been years of economic oppression and what have you. The tensions I see in the country, and especially with GUTA in this matter, are all economic. And I suspect they can be economically sorted out. If GUTA and GUTA members feel that they are, in spite of what the law says, by the way, I think this law itself needs a lot of amendments, the GIPC law. Not necessarily to preclude foreign actors in our market, but to somehow see them as part and parcel of the market. Because the market is where you go and buy goods. And as a rational consumer, I look out for the ones that are selling to me at the least cost, at the highest quality. I'm not interested in patriotism economics when it comes to what I buy. I need to be able to save some of the money as well. So,
but hold on that.
No,
they tout reciprocity.
No, but I've not left.
No, I'm just coming. They tout reciprocity with regards to the country they mention and say, well,
no, I understand
others allow us in. This particular one, they don't even give us space.
Well, again, those are matters to be dealt with at the international level. I suspect what I'm driving at is that, you see, the balance the balance I'm seeking here, and I'm saying that balance should be situated within our own economic and fairly political economy arrangements. If we choose that, given the nature of business activity in Ghana, interest rates would be in double digits and may be difficult for indigenes to be able to access, and that way affect their outputs or outends. It shouldn't be done. I should not be, as a customer, as a citizen, I shouldn't be prevented from being able to access the wares of any other party that may be able to sell at a lower rate because they may have had opportunity to get economic rates that are lower.
If I can help you a little bit. Nigeria is 12.5% if you are going for a facility.
Good.
China manufacturing is 1.5.
Good.
Wholesaling and retailing is 3%. Ghana is 26%.
So I'm helping you to build your case now.
You're right.
So you see, your activism and your anger must be also channeled based on the economics of the situation, which is, this is a problem. Because if I'm borrowing at 20-something%, probably 25%, and you're all buying from the same market, in spite of whether they are substandard goods, by the way. Let's not make it look as it's only Nigerians who bring substandard goods into the country.
The GSA have the report.
I know.
Sometimes go for it.
I know about that. But the point I'm making is that you all go to the same market, China, and all those places to import. If the Nigerian or the Lebanese or whoever goes to buy from there, and in spite of all the taxes, it's able to be competitive because you, unfortunately, are not able to access those markets.
That's it.
And that's where the challenge also is. And I think this is an economic issue that we need to deal with so that you don't even have to worry. Because if I come to the market and you are selling at 10 cedis per yard of electrical cable, and you are Ghanaian, I should be able to make the decision, second level decision, who smiles at me most. That is what I'll do, because now the prices are at par. But if it's the first layer of competition, and itself you are priced out, then we may be resorting to other unorthodox, economically unorthodox means. And I'm not saying what the Nigerians are doing by closing borders are sensible, by the way. But we may be forced to rely on these means because you then say that our governments are not helping us. There's no way you can solve an economic problem with, economic problems have given rise to brute force. But dialogue really is the key. So I think at the end of the day, we should see this as an economic problem rather than it's being a situation where we are trying to throw fisticuffs because we think that we have bigger muscles because we are Ghanaians than other foreign parties.
Okay.
And we need to continue this dialogue, but I'm happy you played a role in it as well. Position your guns properly. The first layer of your fight is economic. You cannot there's no way, and maybe the Continental Free Trade Agreement would allow you now to be able to borrow money from Nigeria or Benin at lower rates than Ghana. That's what the competition will be. So beyond this fight, you should look out for the bigger one, because it's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Once the Continental Free Trade, it's already kicking.
Yeah, it's already.
So you start seeing all kinds of actors in your space.
Yeah.
So then your battle becomes really small.
Yeah.
Franklin, let me help you 1 minute here.
Okay,
you see,
please
and my brother, just to continue from where Franklin left off, what I think you should also be doing, if it is possible, is for you to be putting pressure on the finance minister and ask him questions. Why the Bank of Ghana base rate is at 16% and we are still borrowing at 30%? You see, that is also another problem. The president himself has mentioned this and asked questions on the podium. The finance minister has spoken about it. Bank of Ghana rate is 16%. Yes, we are taking at 30%. So there's no way you can compete with the Nigerian or the Chinese.
They say
you
it's
see,
risk factor.
Well, look at that. I mean, they will find out, and because
It's okay.
So the
I need to take a quick break so that Honorable can run away and Sydney can come in.
Yeah.
So let me just do this. Let me just take
your situation is very dire.
Let me read messages. So, Citizen Francis says, diplomacy is the way to go. Ghana needs Nigeria. Nigeria needs Ghana. A roundtable discussion involving all players in the industry could help bring finality to the impasse. Some basic questions like how the foreigners were able to acquire the stores need answering. This is Jan Ponsa from Praso, Kuma. So let's take a quick break. Honorable Carlos Ankra will be making his way out. He has to go on a quick assignment. As will Nana Poku, thank you very much for their time. When we return, you hear from Sidley Casey Hayford on all the matters we've discussed and the finance minister's conversation with Bernard Avle. That is all reserved for Sidley Casey Hayford. The big issue, will be right back. Welcome back to the big issue. We are entering the final quarter of the program. I'll be taking text messages again in a bit, but I'm going to add another leg to the conversation and then bring in Sidney Kisley, for he's been quiet observing the debate today. So I'm giving him quite a bit of time on the final part of our program. And I'm adding to this GUTA conversation for him. The finance minister, now, in the course of the week, did some research that they put out. They spoke about various sectors of the economy. Now, on Wednesday, Bernard Avle spoke to the finance minister, Mr. Kenuforiata, and put certain questions to him with regards to the decision on PDS. He put questions to him on the debt IPPs say the state owes them $1.5 billion, and also why domestic revenue mobilization is short by 5 billion Ghana cedis. We'll take a quick listen to that, about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll come back to Sidney Kisley Hayford.
Tough times, isn't it? Maybe you and I are not paying the taxes that we should be paying, or maybe I was too optimistic with regards to my revenue projections that I did. But be that as it may, I think revenues have gone up on average, north of 15 to 20% each year since 2017. And even in these doldrums, I think we are up maybe about 11% compared to last year. But we are certainly missing our targets, and we need to do something about that. I think that is clear to all of us with the new leadership that we have brought to GRA, and we truly are expecting great things from the people that we have put.
A few months ago, when I interviewed you about revenue, you promised me that you are going to get NAPCO guys to come and work to help collect revenue. You said 10,000 NAPCO guys were going to help.
That's a great memory.
To shore up revenue.
Yeah.
So those 10,000 guys have been employed, presumably, and yet we're still not meeting our target. Was that a wrong strategy? Did you? Because I think the assumption was that you wanted them to go out there to places that
I'm not sure. No, it's not a wrong strategy. I'm not sure the strategy was implemented the way that we wanted it to implement, and that's why the change of leadership has occurred. Because I have an enduring belief in the capacity of our young people to really participate in the reconstruction of this economy, and giving 10,000 people a chance, I think we'll reap those results.
So you've changed leadership so that the strategy of getting the tax collected will work.
Yes.
But while you are lacking the revenue, you are giving, what do you call it, tax exemptions. The president said in 2018, we give tax exemptions of $2.4 billion. If you multiply that by 5, that's almost like the amount of money you're using to save the bank. You are granting tax exemptions to foreign companies and individuals to the tune of $2.4 billion. And this is 2018. Why are you doing that?
How do you get tax exemptions? Typically, if you go through these sort of loan agreements, which are agreements of export credit agencies in foreign countries, either they are coming to build roads or, hospitals or factories or whatever. So the question, in a sense...
So you heard portions of the interview Bernard Avle had with the Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, on Wednesday regarding several sectors of the economy. So, Sydney, you can add this to your comments on GUTA, because ISA had raised significant issues about the government's ability to generate funding for what it was doing, especially with regards to what it wants to do with capital expenditure. All the money is going into payment of interest on debts. Free SHS, they feel, should be a bit more targeted. Perhaps it's time to trim the size of government. You do a couple of things, but government needs to find a way of making money. And we heard the Finance Minister give some responses. And I'll be adding to it from the conversation, because he spoke about PDS and the IPPs as well, which were significant. So, Sydney, over to you. Your comments on the economy as, described by the Finance Minister and GUTA in Nigeria.
I think you've made it a little too complicated for me.
You can non-complicate it,
because there are too many issues. Let's see if we can break it down.
Okay, where do you want to start from?
Let's deal with GUTA, because I have very, very
clear points.
Clear matters on GUTA. So let's talk about GUTA. For me, with the GUTA issue is very clear. Reason why all this is going on is because we have a bad law. We have a foolish law. That law needs to be sanitized. And unfortunately, I think that the government is not paying enough attention to what should be done. We've got too many mistakes that we are carrying on with this GUTA thing. First of all, it should not be a GIPC matter, in my opinion.
Okay.
We need to put it under Ministry of Trade, which is where it should belong. After all, we are dealing with commercial and trade. That's where it should belong. The whole idea of restricted trading areas must be very clear to anybody who comes into the country. And it has to be something that should be touted by the Ministry of Trade. We cannot have a situation where you have a draft law that is being refined. It has been going on for months. If you remember, I heard Carlos saying that UFI Grant has been working on this law, this draft law for months. Why? Why should it take months to amend the law? It's not like as if we are writing the law from scratch. We are amending it, which means that you're looking for the specific areas where there's controversy and which are not clear, and you submit it and we deal with it. The quicker we deal with it, the better, because we are under the ECOWAS protocols, and now we are getting into the Continental Free Trade Protocols. And you should have that law in place in such a way that it doesn't cause confusion when people start coming in to come and trade. We are misunderstanding what we are doing with the ECOWAS and Continental Free Trade, because we are making it look like as if anybody who belongs to the economic zone can just simply walk through the country and come and do whatever they like. You cannot have that. And that is what Nigeria is saying. That fine, yes, I do have agreements, but it doesn't mean that anybody can just come in. Benin is importing rice from outside.
Yes.
And just simply selling it in Nigeria. That itself is flouting the rules of origin protocols. Because you have to work under the guidelines which are stipulated. And Nigeria has the right to determine what its specific acceptance of certain products are that it would allow into the country free of tariffs or with tariffs under the Continental Free Trade Law and under the ECOWAS Liberalization Trade Law. That exists, okay? That you can actually stipulate that I'm not accepting rice to come in tariff-free. And Nigeria has said it very clearly. I have security issues I'm dealing with, and I'm also trying to build my industry. Nigeria wants to build its capacity in rice. It wants to build its capacity in tomatoes and certain agricultural crops.
Even in car manufacturing.
Yes. So because of that, and that is allowed under the protocols, that you can therefore stop people from bringing in goods which they just want to come and trade in your country. You can bar them from coming in. So Nigeria is not doing anything wrong under that. Okay? But the longer we sit down and not take any action and not actually complete what we are supposed to complete, in this case, the GUTA law, or the law that determines the trading in the marketplaces, the more this thing will get complicated, the more militant GUTA will become, because their livelihoods are at stake. And when people's livelihoods are at stake, they will threaten you, whichever way you like it. So I think that there's a little bit of inertia on the side of government, and we are not giving the law enough attention to finish, and we are underestimating the explosive nature of what we are dealing with. So it's nice to hear Nana Poku so angry and determined that they will do something about it. And to a large extent, this is something that we don't have enough of in Ghana. This age, where we fight for things, okay, where we fight for things and get something fixed because we are angry and upset about it, seems to have disappeared. We are too quick to compromise, too quick to sit back and say, oh, it will be done in time. Oh, let's wait and see how things will go. There are things you have to do. You must get them out of the way, and you must carry on quickly in order to be able to avoid a catastrophe. So that is on GUTA.
Okay. Now let's come to the finance minister's defense of the economy that he runs. ISA raised serious questions. They are saying revenue shortfalls. And the finance minister does admit that there is a significant problem. He says Ghana is hard and they inherited a broke country.
We argued incessantly and called very hard for the removal of the Mahama government, the NDC government, more for economic reasons than we did for political reasons. I think that philosophically, I have no hesitation saying I found Mahama very hollow when it comes to strategic vision and where we want to go. I believe sincerely that for a long time we were talking about correcting our structure of our economy and getting things right. I think this government has that focus. You cannot go wrong if you focus on agriculture and you focus on industry. That for me is how my reading of most of the successful nations, that's how I can see that they have succeeded. The stories are there of the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, Indonesia, and who? Somebody in South Africa. They've all succeeded. And if you look at the map of Africa and Africa's industrialization, you will see very clearly how South Africa is so dominant on the continent. And South Africa's base is very much industry and manufacturing. And they've spread across, both in the South Africa development area, the economic zones that they have focused on, including the East African markets, and they have developed very, very significantly. If you look now, you will see how countries like Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, they've both built their bedrock, and even Ivory Coast, our neighbor, built their bedrock on agriculture and used agriculture to feed their industries, which is what everybody does. The biggest agricultural economies in the world, the USA, Brazil, they've all built their bedrocks on agriculture. So when I hear planting for food and jobs and increasing our agricultural base, I don't see any faults with it at all. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to do more of that. Left to me alone, there are very, very simple things we need to do now in order to be able to cure our problems. Number one, more agriculture, more food, more growth. Food security, food sufficiency. We must focus on that. Water harnessing and making sure we have adequate water supply throughout. Energy and power supply is critical, because once you're going to build industries and you have raw material, you must have electricity to be able to process both the product as well as the waste that you generate. So for me, all of these things are important, and they are the focus of what we have to get down to. Right now, things are going to be tough, simply because we have more or less, with the banking sector reforms, the banks are not in the mood to take too many chances. They are not sure what will come next. But when you hear things like, Bank of Ghana has its Ghana real rate, its policy rate at 16%, and banks are still lending money at 30%, you are forced to say, we can legislate, or we might have to legislate in order to be able to force the banks to come down. There are countries in our competitor, in Kenya, in Rwanda, and in the East African bloc, they actually won't allow you to lend money out at more than plus or minus 2% of the policy rate, the real rate, and that is law. So whether the banks like it or not, it's not an open market policy. The central bank drops the rate, you can only lend at a particular rate, and the laws and rules are very strict. Now, maybe we need to do that. I've never been an advocate of that. I've always believed in free market, open policy. But maybe we have arrived at that point where we have to do it in order for the economy to start kicking in. Because banks are really not pushing hard enough, and particularly in agriculture development. Let me use something that I am involved in, which I've been struggling with for a long time. Rice production and rice milling. Okay? I have a mill. I have a rice mill. I do close to 4.5 to 6 tons every 1 hour, which means I can do 100 tons a day if I run a 24-hour cycle or something between that. Now, I need to sell the rice once I mill it, or at least I need somebody to buy the rice. Government hasn't yet clamped down on the huge imports that Nana Puku was referring to. You've got your foreigners, your Lebanese and your Indians are bringing in shiploads of rice. And what is happening is local suppliers who have been able to secure contracts with the buffer stock and with the feeding program go and buy the rice, they rebag it. All right? They rebag it as a locally produced rice and they sell it to buffer stock. The banks are not prepared to lend you money if you are not selling to buffer stock. because for them that is the secure place where they know they can get paid. They are not prepared to take a risk with any other supplier, any other off-taker. It has to be buffer stock. I have a personal, I'm involved in this personally, so I know. And you would think that if we are to encourage indigenous businesses and get our SMEs to pick up, then what the government will do is to say, okay, buffer stock, you are not going to give anybody any order to supply anything to the buffer stock program unless the millers, the rice millers, have been given a quota. So they can deliver first, and then we can deal with anybody else after that. When we have saturated the quota within the milling sector, then you can give it outside, because there are very, very few of us who are milling rice and using local rice to do our milling. Mm-hmm. Okay, very few of us. We're not that many as Ghanaians. The rest of them are big organizations. There's a Brasilia Agro, there's Avnash, and a few other people who are actually doing this separately from us. But you are not going to succeed if we can't nurture the local indigenous businesses. And it's the same problem that GUTA is facing. That if you don't bias your economy to indigenous companies and help them to stand on their 2 feet, you are not going to get anywhere. I will have a conversation with the central bank, hopefully, during the week. And my big question is why we cannot bring the interest rates down. There has to be a very, very clear pathway towards dropping interest rates. But the way we have structured it, that the retail banks can decide whether or not they drop their rates after the policy rate has been set, it doesn't seem to be working. The margin is too huge. From 16 to 30%, you got 14 points, all right, where the banks are making money. And the banks are declaring profits every year consistently. Mm-hmm. They're declaring huge profits, all right? The lending portfolios are not increasing anything significantly. And those who are doing something about it are the ones who have ripped us off, all right? To such an extent that we don't even know how much cash there is in the system anymore and whether there is enough liquidity to go around. But we can all feel the pinch. It's not happening. When you go into the marketplace, people are not buying. Market sellers are complaining. Everybody's complaining. Even the young men and women who are walking on the side of the road. These days, the calls I hear every time is more intense now. Oh, Pachomun Toby Mai and why? It is just a little too much because we have withdrawn too much cash out of the economy. Okay? And I don't believe in this austerity matters when you're a developing economy. You are developing. You have to put money into it. You have to kick it. You have to make sure you prime the pump properly so that the people can actually get and see how they can, move into sectors where the economy is growing. But we are not going to do it if we keep on like this.
Okay.
You see, agriculture is agriculture, and there are persons who will go and till the land. They don't have a problem. But if you're going to get big enough agricultural conglomerates who will feed industry, then you have to industrialize to a large extent. I think that Efri Akoto is doing an exceptional job with everything that he's trying to do. But we have a problem with inertia in this country. We put things in place, but we are not taking advantage of its usefulness. Somebody talks about the risk that the banks are facing in finding people who come and borrow money. But for Christ's sakes, we've now got a GPS system with a coding system where you can find anybody at all within a square meter space. It's available. So the GPS system is there. And all you have to do as a bank is to insist that anybody who comes to borrow money, I need your GPS code. If you don't have a GPS code, I will not sell to you. All right? We have spent so much money trying to name streets and number houses. And still, you can't find anybody if they give you a street address and a house number. So what are we doing? What are we doing?
That's a question.
And this is the problem we face, that we put all these measures into place. I see that we have got all these things in place. We have all the laws. We have all the economic measures. We have all the committees and the authorities and whatever. And still, it doesn't work. Still, it's not kicking in. Still, it's too slow to move. So I am pleased with GUTA's push. I think that we need people like him to push in order to be able to get things to move on. And if we take too much of a back step and we do too much of that thing, it will never help us. And it's probably one of the biggest reasons why we're not moving forward.
Okay.
Engineer Mahama was saying that one of the problems that we have, if you're not careful, is that even sound, even sound itself can make the rock in Aburi crumble. All the churches, they have big resorts up on McCarthy Hill. Every morning they wake up. By the time the rocks have even settled down and the dew has dropped from them, they are doing their sound thing.
I have 2 minutes. So let me just take a couple of messages and then we go home from here. It's a Saturday. We must go and have some fun with the family. Eh?
Oh, we haven't spoken about the Rugby World Cup.
South Africa has won.
Oh, South Africa won?
Yes, South
but
Africa has won.
What score?
I don't know the score, but South Africa has won.
Oh, great news. Africa, here we come.
Okay.
Yeah,
so messages coming. It's their first win since 2007, I think.
No, they've won twice.
Yeah, this is since 2007.
2007 and then 2000.
No, that was the one they hosted. The one they hosted.
They won 2007, then 12 years later they won it again. That's...
surprised? It's just Chaskele, isn't it? Yes, we started it.
The hardest game in the world.
We started it.
Let me just take two messages. Let me just take two messages and then we go. Good morning. What the Honorable Deputy Minister is saying was just diplomatic bias. I mean it because I've been to Nigeria multiple times. All they do is to protect their businesses and their people. So why can't we protect our businesses also? Ghana is Ghana. Nigeria is Nigeria. That's what he says. And Alex Enum says there are shops at Abinchi in Kumasi where you see Chinese people retailing goods they used to wholesale to locals. But they've realized the laws are weak, and so they are now retailing, thereby pushing the locals out of the retail trade. That is a message that has come in. I have a message from Chief Ibiahu Cyprian. I think he's with NUTA. He says...
What is NUTA?
That's a Nigerian version of GUTA in Ghana. And he says... well, he's making a couple of allegations I cannot substantiate. So, Chief, sorry, I can't read your message. Kwesi Reynolds in Agona Dobin says, retailers in Ghana must be protected from the influx of foreign traders whose activities are impeding the local counterparts. Recently, Nigeria has even banned exportation of certain products into their country, even though as ECOWAS countries, we all enjoy unhindered economic trade liberalization. Farouk from Tema says, this shadow trade war between Ghana and Nigeria must stop. All we want is for our various local trade laws to be respected. Nigerians only understand an eye for an eye. The influx of foreign traders in our market space is getting to security threat levels. Good morning, Godfred. The Deputy Minister has run away from the main reason GUTA is closing shops. It is not that cheap goods are being sold by foreigners. Simply, it's because of the loss of our country. They do not allow foreigners to retail. I agree with the GUTA gentleman, and he makes reference to the analogy on the Virgin. This is from Link. Okay, a lot of people liked that particular.
But it must also be stated that bans have never really achieved their intended effect throughout economic history.
Let's see how this one pans out. The Nigerians seem pretty content and don't.
You just said that Nigeria does food inflation, didn't you?
Yes.
That's the effect of bans.
So we'll have that conversation off air. Thank you very much, Lawyer Yawopon.
Are we the fastest growing economy?
You can ask me that question.
Yet.
My time is up. Thank you to Lawyer Opo. Always great to have you. Syndicately here for
the economy is growing very, very fast.
My name is Godfrey Akuto Buafo. Have a good weekend.